Kia ora e te iwi and welcome to UFC on Sky. Ko Ravinder Hunia aho. UFC 274 goes down this weekend and it features two title fights, one of them being the women's strawweight title fight, and the champion of the strawweight division, Rose Namajunas, returns to UFC on Sky today. Kia ora, Rose, and welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Look, this fight against Carla Esparza is much anticipated. A lot of that reason being was that when you were introduced to the UFC, it was against Carla Esparza. So how have preparations been for this one?
They've been really just awesome. One of my, I would say, my best training camp yet. I've really just grown in all areas. I mean, obviously, since we fought about 8 years ago, I believe, I've grown obviously a bunch. But I really think I've grown even exponentially, like in the last few months, just training for this fight. So a lot of the stuff that I've been working on for the past few years has finally sort of caught up, and I'm able to like reproduce it and not just drill it. I'm actually able to like perform a lot better. So I'm really excited to see what it is that I can do and perform, the way that I've been in practice.
You've had rematches before, but this one, it just feels like it's a little bit different. When you were told that you were going to be matched up with Carla, did it automatically trigger you to think back to 22-year-old, Rose Namajunas and how you were a fighter then?
I think that I think throughout my career, like that fight in particular has been the foundation of like a lot of, what I base my training off now. So having this rematch, obviously I think about it, but, or I've thought about it, but I think that like every day, no matter who I'm fighting, I'm always thinking about, or I'm always like carrying the lessons that I've learned with me from my losses, and definitely the one that the loss that I had with Carla has probably been the most influential and substantial as far as like, how I've evolved as a fighter. So yeah, of course.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because the maturity that would be involved since that fight with Carla, the growing, I would expect that you would look, so different to that fight back then. But is it safe to say that looking at these two fights is not a safe thing to do?
I'm sorry, say that. What was the last part?
Is looking back at these two fights compared to then to now, considering your growth and maturity, is it not a safe thing to do in terms of the fighter that you are now?
I think the safest thing to do is just be in the present moment, always knowing that, a fight's a fight. So I always just got to protect myself at all times. And the safest thing to do is stay present, do my best. And when I do my best, I am the best.
Carla Esparza, she comes with her tools, obviously. She's got the most, takedown submissions. The ground stuff is quite dominant in the strawweight division. Is it fair to say that you're expecting her to take you down to the ground, or try to?
Oh, she's definitely going to try, we've got many layers of defense in order to protect, to stop her from doing what she wants to do. And then we have, contingency plans is, if just in case, but, yeah, that's her plan. My plan is to punch her in the face, take her back, choke her out. And that's what I'll do.
Overall, what do you make of Carla Esparza as a fighter?
I think Carla is, she's got a heart of a champion. Like, obviously, she made history being the first strawweight champion. I think she's very disciplined, very consistent. She kind of lets her skills speak for itself. So she doesn't really need to, like, crap talk or anything like that. She's just really good at, what she's good at, and she stays consistent with it. So I'm really, really grateful for the challenge and the opportunity to face her again.
Okay, Rose, I saw a really interesting little clip of you online gardening, and I was interested to see, when did you take up gardening and where did this love for it come from?
I mean, I've always wanted to be a farmer ever since I was a little kid. I've always been involved with nature and things. So It's ever since I can remember. It's been in my life. I've always wanted to do that, and that's what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for the ability to be able to do it just more and more, and maybe eventually have a huge farmland one day.
I think for fans and spectators of MMA fighters, it starts to compute that, oh yes, fighters are humans outside of, the UFC or a fight promotion. So how important is it for you to have something, for you, and to have something that you love to do away from fighting?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, fighting is one of the things I love to do. If that's all that I love to do, then that would be cool too. But I think it's very important to just do what you love, no matter if it's like reading, writing, dancing, cooking, gardening, fighting. It's all about just yeah, like you gotta express yourself, whether it be through art or sports or whatever. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah, 100%. Rose the human, we like it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not just like, yeah. I
Exactly, the
mean, too,
balance,
and
right?
fighting. Yeah, fighting is one of the like most human things. I think nowadays we like in society, it's like there's a lot of things that we're like kind of forced to do that aren't really like human. I don't know. Humans have evolved into this like weird thing. We do a lot of weird things, but I think like our most primal state of being is like fighting is part of that. It's very to me that's what I think of as like being human. And then it's like it's not like we're like a bunch of animals. I mean, we hug and we shake hands afterwards. So I
Mm.
think from my perspective, I think fighters are like that's not a surprise to me at all.
Very true, very true. Great insight there, Rose. Look, another person on the card, the main event for the lightweight title, is your teammate, Justin Gaethje. So can you give us a little
Yeah.
insight to how he's been going during preparations? Obviously, you'll be preparing side by side a lot of the time.
Yeah, the evolution that I've seen Gaethje make, like over the years, but like is I think pales into comparison what he's been doing for this camp. I mean, every time he's just each fight he's got like his chef, like he's been just running, doing ice baths. He's never done any of that stuff, so it's really cool to see him mature as not just as a fighter, but as like a professional athlete, and he's really I think just all in on this one because he knows like this is his opportunity. So he's definitely making the most of it, and I think you're going to see the most like confident, well prepared version of him that we've ever seen.
Which is a scary thought because I feel that way whenever Justin walks in, into the octagon. So
Oh yeah.
so what do you think fans can expect to see? Because his fights are all out wars every time.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see like, because obviously his fights are pretty crazy. Like he said, he kind of describes them as control chaos, but um, I mean, it's either like obviously Charles definitely possesses the ability to finish anybody just the same, and but he does have his like submission arsenal that's like super scary. But I see, I just see Gaethje knocking him out in a very like clean way. Like his striking is very, it's hard to prepare for. It's hard to
Mm.
mimic. He hits like a truck, but I think he's just like super in shape. So it's not just like a hard punch. It's coming at different angles and stuff. And so, uh, yeah, I think it's gonna be a clinic. Like Gaethje hands down.
Yep, very exciting indeed. Cannot wait for that fight. And yours, of course. Just to final question for you. Last time you were on UFC on Sky, we did talk about that championship mentality and having that belief to win and how important that is. But if there's one thing that sets you apart from not only Carla Esparza, but the rest of the women in the strawweight division, what do you think that is that, sums up your success in the division?
I would say the strength in my spirit. I think like just well, other than just like I think my God given like talents and abilities and just like my purpose for being here. Like this is I believe it's my destiny, you know, to be sitting here right now. Like just my intuition and my like connection with my higher power is for sure what sets me apart. But ultimately, I think what's really like helped me get so much success is my ability to adapt and adjust and learn from my mistakes. And I think that's something that you know, not a lot of people possess.
I think that's not only fight advice, Rose, but 100% life advice as well for anyone
Yeah.
who walks through, you know, with struggles or adversity of any kind. But Rose, thank you so much for your time once again. It's great to have you back on, and all the very best for this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you.
Now, featuring on the UFC 274 main event is for the lightweight title, and it features Justin Gaethje up against the champion Charles Oliveira. And Justin Gaethje, the #1 lightweight contender, joins us now. Hello, Justin Gaethje, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, me.
Hey, look, I'll start off with asking you this question. You know, the stakes are always a little bit higher when you're fighting for a title. So, you know, how do you adjust or try and prepare? Because there's a lot more mentally involved, isn't there, when there's a title involved?
I mean, yeah, you can make it. You can make it as large or as small as you want to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a fight. You know, it wins a lot more than in this fight than any other fight, but it's 25 time, and I have to be perfect for 25 minutes.
Very, very true. It's something that is not too unfamiliar for you. You've fought for titles before. You were the interim lightweight champion as well. And, you know, despite not getting the result that you wanted in your past title fight, what do you take from, you know, that experience to bring to this title fight?
It's so different. Going to a different country, a different culture, not having control of a lot of different things. It's not the case here. So it's completely different. You know, I'm in my home state. And yeah, I have control of everything right here. And that brings confidence.
And Charles Oliveira, obviously the champion, been on a little tear of late. What do you make of him as a fighter?
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. I mean, really inspiring. He is able to overcome, you know, and yeah, he's just, I mean, it's impressive. You know, I got to give him credit. You know, there was some questions before the Chandler and Poirier fight, but, you know, he proved a lot of people wrong. So I'm excited to go in there and bring the old Charles out.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by bringing back the old Charles?
If you've ever seen him fight Paul Felder, Cub Swanson, choices, Anthony Pettis, choices were made, internal choices, and he took the easy way out. And I want to show him an easy route out of there.
He comes with a 3rd-degree black belt, most submissions in UFC history. You know, we know the credentials, but he of late has been standing and banging with his opponents. You know, what are you expecting from him in terms of a game plan? Do you think he'll be bold enough to stand and bang with you?
I don't think he's going to have a choice. I mean, he's going to really have to put himself into some dangerous situations to try and get the takedown. Ultimately, it's going to be who controls distance, who decides what fight we're going to fight. I'm going to try really hard to win that battle immediately.
How do you think you do that with someone like Charles Oliveira, who has, you know, arms longer than your average man? But I know you are very capable of getting on the inside as well.
I mean, inside, outside, I land. You know, I don't like the numbers. I think the numbers that they put up during fights are absolute bullcrap. But I think I'm the most accurate striker. When I throw shots, they land. Not often do I miss. And I really have to be super critical about what shots I pick, how extended I want to be in situations. Can't be against the fence. And again, I have to win the distance battle. That's the most important thing.
You're one of the most durable fighters in the UFC, hands down. One of the most exciting fighters as well. Do you think that you would have the strength to perhaps get a KO?
Yeah, I know for a fact I can knock anybody out, for sure. That's my game, and that's what I've done. That's what I do. This is my 10th UFC fight, my 9th main event. They trust me for one reason, and that's because I give max effort every single time.
Max effort and just amazing performances, I must say. We spoke to your teammate, Rose Namajunas, earlier, who said, you hit like a truck that only gets harder and harder with every fight camp. But she said one of the biggest things that she's seen is your shift in not only building your skill set, but it's been your being motivated and your mental strength. So do you feel like there's been a shift since Khabib, Michael Chandler, and to this fight?
I mean, with age comes wisdom, and I believe I'm wiser than then, and I think that's going to allow me to have more control of my emotions, and I think that's a huge factor.
So, there's a lot more to going into a UFC title fight than just what you bring physically. When you especially come up for a UFC title fight, it can be quite a circus, in terms of the media and the attention. So is there anything that you do in particular to, maybe keep that in check?
Yeah, I think I don't retain a lot of it because I can't, allow myself to become too distracted by words and emotions. And I really just have to, stay as true as I can. So that way, if I tell a lie, it's hard for me to tell the same lie twice. So if I just stick to my guns, then it makes this whole process easier, and I don't have to retain false information, and that's the easy for me.
Look, I'm going to ask you a little bit of a left field question now. Now, I understand you have an identical twin.
I have a fraternal twin.
So you have a...
So we're not identical. We look different. I'm half Mexican. He looks like my mom. I look like my dad.
Right, because I have a twin as well. And I'm always...
Oh, identical?
We're identical, yeah. So we're mirror twins.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
But I do not have the luxury of messing with people.
We've tried our best. I think people just know us too well. We can't mess with people that very well. But I'm always...
but I'm sure when you were young, you got a lot of people.
Oh, you know what? You know who gets messed up the most when we look at our baby photos is probably ourselves. We don't know who's who in our own baby photos. Yeah. But the reason why I bring it up...
That's crazy. I don't, that's not the same here. I don't have an identical twin, but that would be awesome.
But on the subject, like I'm always so intrigued by it, being a twin myself. And people think that twins aren't intrigued by other twins, but I certainly am. So I just wanted to get, I wanted to get a bit of your opinion on, how, even though I know for you and I, it's perfectly normal to grow up with a twin, but how have you felt it? And especially, in the journey that you're on now and being this amazing UFC champion, how does this work in your little family dynamic?
I am a competitor because of my twin brother. My whole family is super competitive, and we were competing from a young age, wrestling. I always had a wrestling partner. I always had someone to play with. Yeah, I mean, it's really valuable to have something like that, to have that support system. He was in my corner for most of my fights. He won't be in my corner this fight. I had to bring a jiu-jitsu guy in. But he's a big part of, my confidence.
The lightweight division is obviously one of the deepest in the UFC. So what would it mean for you to get that strap to be lightweight champion?
Yeah, it would mean so much for me, for the people where I'm from, for the kids where I'm from, the ability to inspire, not just where I'm from, but actually across the globe. I constantly get messages from everywhere around the world. And to come from such a small place and have an opportunity to inspire people around the world is special for me. And that's what I want to take advantage. Win or lose, I will inspire you through my effort. And that's my job.
You 100% do live by those words, I must say. Doesn't matter what the result is. Before I let you go, there's another big lightweight fight on this card. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. You have fought both of these men. You have beaten both of these men. How do you think this fight is going to go?
It's a tough one. I mean, Tony's had a real rough go at things. And as I've stated multiple times, confidence is a huge factor when you step in there. He may be crazy enough to still be super confident. I hope that's the case. Because if you are not confident, then you are in an extreme amount of danger in there. And I think it's Tony's a puzzle, and it really takes a certain style and certain choices to not get elbowed and cut and dragged into his kind of fight. And, I think Chandler will be able to do that, but, man, he's such a drum that I think, there's always what he did to Anthony Pettis, just breaks him down. RDA, that Tony is still there. And if you fight his fight, it gets ugly. So I can't pick winners. I'm a huge fan of this sport because I understand, first and foremost, that anything can happen at any time. We play with a little bit of luck, and we mess with some chance. I'm such a huge fan of the sport, and that's why I love doing this so much, because the unpredictability of every single instance in time that I step in there. So I'm excited to see the fight, but I'm ready for my fight. That's all I care about.
Yeah.